My name's Kat Black. I was diagnosed with diabetes over 10 years ago after a pregnancy. I've been through all sorts of treatment for diabetes from initial diagnosis. I was diet controlled only, then on to metformin, and then on to a cocktail of metformin with Xlev and glycoside, and through to worst day of my life, insulin. The doctor became quite exhausted with me because nothing was working, and he introduced all sorts of extra tablets, but it wasn't keeping things under control. So I was referred up to 9 Wells because I thought I now needed insulin treatment. So although the doctor had said that what was going to happen when I came up, it still was a shock to me when they said you're going to have to inject insulin. So it felt like the world had fallen in on my head that day. And as I live on my own, I thought, how am I really going to survive? Because I'd had a couple of collapses on the floor before that when things got worse and the doctor sent me up. So I got quite concerned and scared about the fact that I lived alone and would now have to inject. When I came up to hospital and it was decided that I did in fact need insulin, even over the 8 weeks that I was on insulin, what happened was the needle went further and further up. So I could see that this was only heading one way, and that I could either passively sit and accept this and say, well, I can eat what I like, but I'm going to have to keep this insulin needle going up, and what will happen, it will be more doses each time that I come up, because that was the pattern so far. Or I can fight. And I decided that because I was quite young, well, relatively young, at 21, that I had to fight, because I had family and I had grandchildren on the way. So I couldn't passively sit back and accept that I was going to become more ill. Plus there's the threat of you might need amputations or you might need other things, because diabetes can bring about all sorts of other health issues as well along the way. I decided I was going to fight, so I went home and researched the internet and read lots of articles, and luckily came across a man called Roy Taylor, whom I didn't know anything about, but decided it was the only beacon of light in the tunnel and that I should perhaps head in that direction. And picked up a book by Dr. Cavan, which was Reversing Your Diabetes. And he mirrored all the things that Roy Taylor was saying, so I thought there must be an element of truth or a basis in fact of some of this, maybe not all of this, but some of it must be helpful. So I read the book and decided to introduce into the diet things that I could, like cinnamon, vitamin D and other things, and dismiss other things like kale, which I thought, no, not in your life. So it was a question of just selecting what you could easily incorporate into your diet and ditch other suggestions that you thought, no, I couldn't eat these. As part of the research, you had to lose 10% of your weight, and you had to do this by eating only liquid food to start with, which was very, very tough, and probably why most people fall by the wayside, because it's only 700 to 800 calories a day. But the thing is to put it on the calendar and say it's only for 8 weeks, so you could see 8 weeks was going to come soon, and it was only a temporary, horrible place to be. I lost about 3 stone altogether, but that was weight lost afterwards as well, with the good eating after the 8-week period. And just continued with all the good habits that I'd picked up afterwards. Here are the graphs which show 12 months ago my weight and blood sugar levels. And as you can see, in the period of 12 months, there's been dramatic changes. And every time I go into the doctor's surgery, the first thing he does is show me the chart of my weight. Blood sugar levels are pretty normal without any medication whatsoever, apart from vitamin D, which I do take, which was recommended. So within a relatively short period of time, they began to notice that my blood sugar was coming down severely to the point of being 3. So they decided that I didn't need insulin anymore within about 8 weeks of starting the insulin. And I was still on metformin controlled after that. But about 3 months later, I was then taken off the metformin because the indicators kept going down and down. We could see that progress was being made. So now I'm taking absolutely nothing for my diabetes, and it feels absolutely brilliant, and I'm getting compliments, and I'm now able to go into the dress shop and pick up size 10 and know that it'll fit me and there'll be no bulges anywhere. So it's great to be able to do things like that. For anybody out there just diagnosed with diabetes, like me, you'll look and think that's a mountain, and there's absolutely no chance in now climbing that mountain now that I'm on insulin. But if I had turned back the clock, I probably would have climbed that while it was a hill. So I would have started to make those dietary changes and those little changes of getting off the bus a couple of stops early and walking to where I wanted to be, and drinking water and drinking tea and calorie-free drinks instead of sodas, eating good carbs like brown bread and brown rice and brown pasta as a substitute for ordinary pastas. I would have started while it was just a hill. There's other things you can do. It's not all diet. You can increase your activity levels. As I said, you can get off the bus a couple of stops early. Introduce things like squats while you're brushing your teeth, which sounds mad, but it makes sure that you brush your teeth for long enough, and it makes it a routine where you just do the squats while you're brushing your teeth. So you do it every day. It just becomes a habit that it's a thing you do during the day. And then the best thing I did was get the pedometer. My sister says it's the best thing I've ever did. And I walked 10,000 steps a day. So already today I've walked 8,000 steps and I've still to walk home. So it's not a long distance. And I just do that every day. I haven't missed a day in a year of walking 10,000 steps. But some people might prefer to go swimming or jogging if they're up to jogging, but I'm too old for that.